Welcome to Speak for Yourself, sponsored by the Popeyes Chicken Sandwich. Marcellus Wiley looking at the glares of Emmanuel Acho. He's back in the building.
My dog may not come when you want him, but he'll be here right on time for some breaking news.
Golly, I'm so glad you're here for this because I know you're about to shine. All right, let's get it started with the huge news in New England that seems like Acho predicted. The Patriots released Cam Newton this morning. Wow. And Mac who? Can't say that anymore. Mac Jones, the starter, has been named that quarterback in New England. Cam missed 3 days of practice last week after a misunderstanding for COVID protocols. And Jones took all the first-team reps during Cam's absence. Cam reacted on Instagram, posting, quote, "I really appreciate all the love and support during this time. But I must say, please don't feel sorry for me. I'm good." I'm good. So, Acho, what's your reaction to Cam Newton being released? Come on, man. Not at the funeral. Not right now. It's too early, bro. Too early.
I'm not surprised.
I know you're not. Come on.
I told y'all.
Oh, come on.
Y'all ain't want to listen. I told you, Sale, you ain't want to listen. Clearly, Colin and Joy, they don't watch our show because they ain't want to listen. I'm not surprised. Now, here is what has become abundantly clear in 2021. I may not like it. You may not like it, Sale. You may not like it. But it's become abundantly clear. You cannot be mediocre and unvaccinated. You have to pick one.
Ooh.
Can't be both.
Oof.
You can't be mediocre and unvaccinated. You gotta die on one hill.
That part.
Cole Beasley, we know he unvaccinated, but he balled last year. All pro. He was a dude. Lamar Jackson, we know he unvaccinated, but he was a unanimous MVP. He was a dude. Cam Newton unvaccinated. But Cam Newton has not been a dude as of late. Can't be mediocre and unvaccinated. It's a terrible combination. It will land you on the streets. I'm not surprised. Now, the other reason I'm not surprised is this. Quarterbacks that start in the NFL, they start for one of three reasons or for all three reasons. Talent, potential, reliability. One of three or all three. Talent, potential, reliability.
Gotcha.
Let's look at Washington, the football team. Ryan Fitzpatrick, not that talented, doesn't have a ton of potential, but boy, is he reliable. Maybe the greatest Wonderlic test taker of all time. On the flip side, you look at, say, Gardner Minshew. Statistically, he's actually incredibly talented. Look at his stats. Potential, not that much. Reliability, that's irrelevant because the potential's not there. But then you look at Cam Newton. Talented, it's going down the hill, unfortunately. Cam Newton, a former league MVP. Put respect on his old name at a minimum. Potential, ceiling, he's already eclipsed his ceiling. His best years are behind him, 2015, 2017, etc. Reliable, that is where you have an issue. I'm not even talking about Cam Newton being injured back in 2018, the end of that season, 2019, the entirety of that season. But he missed a game with COVID last year, and then remember he fluttered because of it. Then he missed practice with COVID this year. Whether he is unlucky or uncareful, and I know that ain't a word, he's still in the midst of COVID. It might be unlucky. Let's call the spade a spade. Who even knows how you contract it this day and age? It might be unlucky. Or he might be uncareful. But either way, he's unemployed at this point. And it's unfortunate because we know
Damn, you got a lot of uns in there.
I didn't plan that one. I didn't even catch that one. It's unfortunate because we know how talented Cam is. I'm going to say one little last thing, and then I'm going to get off the mic. Cam, you left the Patriots no choice. And he left them no choice, Sal, because Cam Newton said, I want to be a starter in this league. So you're either a starter or you're unemployed. We know you're talented enough to be a backup on this team, but you left the Patriots no choice, and here's where Cam lies.
Yeah, you said a lot. I'm going to have to echo some of that, and I'm going to try to add to what you said. Where'd you go? Where were you last week on vacation?
Your boy was in Jamaica.
Oh, that's...
Jamaica, man. Yeah, man. Out there.
I can taste that raw coming out of you now. You ain't playing no games in this race. You taking off. Goodness. All right. Well, let me run with you so you won't be alone. Cam Newton, my reaction to this... it goes back to one of my favorite Wileyisms. There is a freedom of choice, but not a freedom of consequence. God dog it, pick a side. And he picked his side. And he picked a side that's interesting. I think my conjecture of this is, in reaction, talk to a few people that hover around the Patriots facility. Let's just leave it there so you guys don't start trying to find out my sources. But basically everyone said, look, there was a wink-wink deal between Bill Belichick and Cam Newton. in terms of your vaccinated, unvaccinated status. Bill ain't going to press you. Bill's just going to make sure that you're responsible with whatever decision you make. So when you make that decision in that wink-wink deal, basically it goes like this. Hey, Bill, I'm going to be here for you. Well, you know, you're going to put yourself in a compromising position and our team in a compromised position because last year you were compromised, but now we have the vaccination. You don't choose to do it. That's fine. Here's the conjecture of this. Cam's like, I promise I'll walk that high rope, that tight rope, and I won't fall down. And Bill's like, okay, because you know there is going to be a consequence. Now, the consequence wasn't direct. The consequence wasn't in the moment. The consequence was you let someone who's the future of this franchise, who you're in a direct competition with, get almost a week of practice in training camp. Do you know how injured I've seen a teammate go out there with one leg and one toe just to get the practice reps in training camp to keep his job? Cam Newton lost sight of that. He lost perspective of that. The vaccinated status, unvaccinated status is a different conversation, but it plays into this conversation. Because once Cam was compromised, the New England Patriots were compromised. So then they all of a sudden had to insert and assert someone who wasn't ready for a starting role. But what happened? That guy, Mac Jones, in that starting role for 3 days of practice, looked like he could be the starter. And you know how it is. Let's take you into an Uber ride since, actually, most people would choose since you don't drink. You are the Uber. But let me just go into an Uber ride if you've ever been in an Uber before. There's an auxiliary cord if you've ever been in an Uber. And whoever got the auxiliary cord got the power. Whoever controls the music in the Uber on the way to the club got the power. Now, Cam had it, and then Cam said, I got to go to the bathroom for 3 days. That cord, Mac Jones said, let me just plug this in. Everybody in the car start bumping to it, listening to it, said, this sounds good. Cam got back in. They said, no. Don't touch that. Don't touch that. We good. We listen to this Migos right now. And Mac Jones, all of a sudden, looked like he could fit the shoes that they thought were size for Cam Newton. It's just that simple. It's football 101. You choose your path. You got to live and die on that same path.
Let's break down these layers. Let's peel back this onion. It is very simple in football. There is an equation that trumps all, and it's this. Your level of distraction can never exceed your level of talent.
Yeah.
That's it.
I heard it.
Football can be summed up into that. Your level of distraction can never exceed your level of talent. Colin Kaepernick, why wasn't he in the league? It's not because he wasn't talented enough to be in the league. He was probably top 32, definitely top 64, and absolutely top 96 at the quarterback position. But his level of distraction at some point began to exceed his level of talent. Old school Tim Tebow, not tight end Tim Tebow, old school Tim Tebow, the Tebow I played with in 2015. He was probably a top 64 quarterback, wasn't top 32. But his level of distraction exceeded his level of talent. Same can be said for Eric Reed. Cam Newton's level of distraction has unfortunately exceeded his level of talent. Talk about it on the football field. We're talking about Cam Newton on the sidelines. Cameras watching him just to give a high five to Mac Jones. During the regular season, we're always talking about Cam Newton's outfits. And now, after missing practice because of COVID, speculating, vaccinated, unvaccinated. Where was he? What was he doing? His level of distraction has exceeded that level of talent. And as a result, you got to go. It might not be just. It typically isn't just because ask several people, Colin Kaepernick's cause was just. Tim Tebow, it ain't his fault he's a star. It's just who he was. It's who he always has been. He's a star. Cam Newton, not necessarily his fault he caught COVID. It's not his fault he was a league MVP and he dresses the way he dresses and he is so captivating. But it's the nature of the beast. We don't set the rules. We just understand the rules and thus play by them. Cam's level of distraction superseded his level of talent, and thus he was released. Could he have been a backup? Sure. But are you going to keep Cam Newton behind Mac Jones? Why are you going to go and do that?
Well, yeah. What you're saying is something that we used to say, don't let your personality get louder than your production. Okay. And Cam Newton's personality did get louder. Like, his reputation precedes him so much that when you meet him, you already have all the preconceived notions, and you just met a star. Now, that star can never go anywhere and be dimmer because Cam Newton is the man. Like, he's iconic. I don't care about his production going forward, or even if he gets a job, we'll talk about that going forward. Cam Newton walks in the room, and I've been in a room before with Cam Newton. It's a different room. And Cam Newton doesn't even have to come with the big hats. He ain't got to come with all the antics. He can just be Cam Newton, but everything precedes Cam Newton. So that comes into play with this. You bring up Kaepernick, you bring up Cam Newton, you bring up these really capable starters, but certainly superstar backups. Here's the problem with that. Ownership knows, teams know, coaches know, and players sometimes get it. But fans, they're in the dark of this. Don't mess with the money. Underneath those shoulder pads, underneath that helmet is a person. But that person is a dollar sign in terms of opportunity and in terms of employment and in terms of keeping this billions and billions of dollar industry afloat. When you mess with the money, which means mess with the opportunity, which means compromise the health of those participating, for whatever reason, we have a discussion. Colin Kaepernick was a different reason. You were messing with the money because there was such contention about what you were doing in demonstration. Not your cause, your demonstration. Different conversation for a different time. Cam Newton found himself in that position right here. And we always talk about it. Nobody cares what you're doing, Cam, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Talk about
everybody
it.
start caring about what you up to.
Talk about it.
And so now you see Cam Newton, his production, this is what's crazy. And I've talked to many of teammates who found themselves at the Greyhound bus station that was better than someone still on the team. That's not this conversation. It's not a talent-based conversation fully. It's not even a production-based conversation fully. It's a professionalism conversation that becomes difficult to articulate to those who are foreign to it. But Cam Newton wasn't foreign. He just made a choice that came back to eat itself, and now he's in this predicament.
And the kicker cell is, if we're being real, purely talking ball, we didn't see Cam Newton get much better, unfortunately. Now, we didn't see have much of an opportunity to. The time Cam Newton shined was against the Eagles backups in their second preseason game, if I am not mistaken. I think he went 8 for 9, had 151 passer rating. Only time he's ever had 150-plus passer rating was in his MVP season, Week 14, one time in Cam Newton's entire career. So it's not as though we saw Cam make some sort of drastic improvement that said, yes, we want him to be our starter. Because the Patriots didn't see that, what are they supposed to do? In my mind, Cam Newton, Mac Jones were probably going to yield the same output in this season. Probably going to get the same amount of wins, somewhere between, I would say, 8 to 10 wins between Cam Newton and Mac Jones. But if you start Mac, at least you know the ceiling is higher. If you start Cam, you hitting your head on the ceiling because he's already tapped out. He won a league MVP, for crying out loud. He happened to win it 5 years ago, but he showed that he was the best. And since then, unfortunately, due to injuries in large part, Cam has been on the decline. So anybody who says they're shocked that Cam Newton was released either wasn't paying attention to the blatant information or didn't read the fine print. And the fine print says, 1, if you draft a quarterback in the first round, he probably gonna start. 2, your level of distraction cannot exceed your level of talent. And we know Cam Newton, and it's not even his fault, incredibly distracting. Dude was in the headlines last week because an ignorant person made a statement about it's Cam Newton's rap music that's causing Cam Newton's play to suffer. That ain't got nothing to do with Cam. That has to do with ignorance around Cam, but it still hit Cam. And so as I look at it, Sel, there's no shock. There's no surprise. It's very unfortunate because Cam is probably a 30 to 32 quarterback in this league, but he has that top flight level of persona and distraction. And for what?
Yeah, shock and awe, huh? No shock, but oh, damn, Cam. Got caught up in this. Ask Willie McGinnis about how Bill Belichick gets down when he wants to get down. Bill Belichick, Willie McGinnis helped him win 3 Super Bowl titles in 4 years. He didn't retire a Patriot, did he? Okay. Lawyer Malloy, y'all remember that? Want to go back? How about my boy Ty Law? Like, Bill Belichick, like, how about in the Super Bowl, I will bench my #1 defensive back and won't even tell y'all why. Y'all messing with the wrong dude. Talking about walking the high tightrope, Cam Newton in New England. We have so much more on Cam Newton, so I'm going to save some of this for other times and other laps.
Let's get back to the huge news of the day as Cam Newton was released by the New England Patriots, and Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback. Now, Cam started 15 games in his first season with the Patriots last year and finished 7-8. Now, New England is moving on to their first-round pick. So, Sel, was it the right move for the Patriots to release Cam Newton?
No, it wasn't the right move to release him. Release him. Now, if you want to demote him, fine, that's the right move. Think about it. If we're in a competition, you and I, and there are 2, 3 slots, and we're in competition, the loser should still be on the team, but just demoted, correct? Not off the team. Like, why is Brian Hoyer still there if I'm gone and I'm Cam Newton? So this is why Cam Newton found himself in this position, and right now he's unemployed. And I think it was the bad move by the New England Patriots to do this. The assumption that Cam Newton couldn't be a backup on their team. Now, I'm talking from a distance that maybe I'm not privy of knowing, oh, Cam can't be a backup. We've seen it. We already talked to Cam about it, etc. But outside of that, Cam Newton is presumed by most people to not want to be a backup. But everyone is basing that off of Cam Newton and his greatness and him up to this point. Up to this point in Cam Newton's life and career, he's been a winner. Now, Cam Newton's not in that position. He doesn't have that leverage. He is not in a position to say and dictate terms. So now I would go up to Cam Newton saying, this is a different version of what you're going to experience, Cam. This is the backup role. Are you ready? Will you participate? Are you going to contribute as a backup in full support? Now, people talk differently when they win versus when they losing. When you got a full belly versus, hey, my belly button touching my back. Down, you're going to talk different. So when Cam Newton was high on the horse, I get it. Cam Newton ain't going to be no backup. Cam Newton ain't going to do nothing but suck up the oxygen in the room. And this is a tough position for Cam Newton because if he is a backup, what can you do as a backup? If Cam Newton watches Mac Jones struggle, which he will struggle, of course, because he's a rookie, Cam Newton in the room says nothing because he ain't trying to really pile on the rookie. He been there before. Oh, look at Cam not supporting him. Look at that. That's mean. That's wrong. You know what? They should have released him. Cam Newton actually says, okay, here's the flip version. Let me chime in when Mac Jones messes up. Hey, Mac, you got to look out for that safety, man. Throw him off with the hips at least. It's going to be heavier in criticism because it's coming from a former MVP who sucks up the oxygen in the room. All that said, I would have let Cam, in this moment, as a backup, tell me, dictate that he would be a backup in support. If not, then you release him. But I think they skipped that step. So wrong move, releasing Cam.
Marcel, it was the right move because it actually did right by Cam Newton. January 4th, Cam Newton went on the radio and he said, I know out of 32 guys, I'm not 32nd ranked at the position. He said, if you asking me, do I want to be a backup? Hell no, close quote. Now, that was January 4th. That was at the end of the season. Cam Newton wasn't coming off a great high. He was only 7-8 as a starter. They did end up drafting Mac Jones, but I would assume, based off those quotes from Cam Newton, albeit nearly 7-8 months ago, and Cam Newton's Instagram posts, he's still trying to be a starter. So at the point in which you want to be a starter and you're not given the opportunity to be a starter, then release me if you cannot trade me. I'm sure you've been in this situation before. I know I have. I've told this story. It was my 4th year in Philly. After my 3rd year, I finished 33rd ranked at the linebacker position out of 56 qualifying guys. It's 2 starting linebackers on every team. Y'all do the math. There's 32 teams in the league. I was the 33rd. So you know what? I know I can start anywhere in the league based off these rankings from Pro Football Focus, Pro Football, etc. So we have D'Amico Ryans, current defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. I know my dog gonna start.
You better go get that.
We had Michael Kendricks. He was one of the highest paid linebackers at the time. I know my dog gonna start. We drafted Jordan Hicks in the 3rd round. I know he gonna start. We traded LaShawn McCoy for Kiko Alonso, so I know he gonna play. So I'm sitting here like, who is the odd man out? Oh, it looks like it's me.
I hit you.
I go to the defensive coordinator cell. I walk up to the defensive coordinator's office. I'm like, hey, I have the talent to be a starter. I'm not going to stay here as a backup. Go ahead and trade me. I end up breaking my thumb. The rest is history.
Damn.
I say that to say I was giving the Eagles an ultimatum. I know y'all not going to start me, so go ahead and trade me. Cam Newton is given a similar ultimatum. I either want to start or I do not want to be here, because what Cam said is, I know out of 32, I'm not the 32nd. What Cam Newton said was, if you asking me, do I want to be a backup? The answer is hell no, close quote. So most NFL players have been in this situation before. Mind you, Cam was a league MVP. I was just a dude trying to stay on a roster who stumbled into some good enough games to be deemed a starter. Cam wasn't trying to be a backup. So with that being said, why would you hold him hostage as a backup? Still, a year ago.
We about to go at it now.
A year ago, you were quoting Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh, yeah, I lost that.
You were quoting that movie.
I love that movie.
Well, you know what was so interesting about that movie?
What?
It was played by Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield.
That's my dog.
But when it came time for Oscar nominations, they were both named the Best Supporting Actor. Neither was named as the lead. The Patriots don't want to be in that kind of predicament where we don't know who the lead is. Cam Newton, ain't you the lead? Mac Jones, ain't you the lead? Instead, y'all end up both being supportings. Somebody has to be the lead. Now that Cam Newton is out the building, we know exactly who the lead is. It is Mac Jones. There's no discrepancy.
I'm not mad at the script you just gave me. The problem is you skipped a scene or you skipped a step. Like, only thing I'm like, did you ask Cam that? Because you can't ask Cam in January 4th when Cam, previous to that moment, has always been a starter. 7-8 last year, still a starter.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a different Cam Newton. You're not the starter anymore. Now let's talk. I'll give you an example. Rajon Rondo. He's making $2.6 million this year on the Lakers. Now, that's money around here talking about sports, not playing for the Lakers and not being Rajon Rondo. If you would have asked Rajon Rondo after they won in Boston, would he ever play for $2.6 million and be a reserve? You know, he look at you and say, no, retire first. Now, let's ask. Oh, we ain't got to ask. We already see by action he will put himself in that role. It's about the ego. Bro, I messed up so much money because I had an ego at 29, 32 that I don't have right now because you don't get to see it forward like you should. When you were the man, when I was in Dallas and they were like, dog, this ain't it. And instead of me saying, they came to me, they said, look, we're going to switch defenses next year. We're 4-3. You struggling in that right now. We can see it. You still play the run, though. We're going to switch to 3-4. You stay here. We good. My ego said, nah, we ain't good. I gotta make myself feel good. I got to make myself feel better. I got to put myself back in the position I used to be in. Cam Newton may never be what he used to be. Probably not. But the point is, give the man the option to dismiss that. You and everyone else is going off a reputation because he's been so great. And words at a different in a different context. Now, when Mac Jones is in the building, now that Mac Jones is the starter, I wonder, I'm not saying it happened or it didn't happen. Did they go to Cam and say, can you take a subordinate role?
Well, then let's talk real, big dog. Let's talk real. At the point in which you're not going to be the lead actor, at the point in which you're not going to be the lead performer, then I would at least want to be the best supporting actor on a Oscar-winning movie.
Oh, you saying this?
So if Cam Newton wasn't going to be is not going to be the starter, he's going to be a backup, why would you even want to stay in New England? Like, let's put ourselves in Cam Newton's position for a second. You're in a city where a former player just said that it was rap music that was causing you to be distracted. You're in a city that, just by the nature of your presence, isn't used to that at the position. It's not like you're following up Lamar Jackson, following up even Deshaun Watson. You're following up Mr. Politician Tom Brady. And you're on a team coached by the hardest, toughest coach in football, notoriously speaking. And with all of that being said, Bill Belichick, without Tom Brady, has made the playoffs once in 8 years. With Tom Brady, made the playoffs 17 times in 18 years. I will hammer that point home a little bit later in the show. So if I'm not going to be the lead actor, at least let me go be a supporting actor on a movie I know is going to win. Why would Cam want to stay on a Patriots team backing up a quarterback that's not a all-pro quarterback, backing up a quarterback that's not going to make the Pro Bowl more than likely this year, on a team that's probably not winning any more than 11 games, if they get to the playoffs, is getting to the playoffs in a wild card spot, because I would have to assume your Bills are going to win that division, even if you are Cam. Even if Bill Belichick did or did not ask you, if I'm going to be a backup, let me go be a backup in Green Bay. At least let me go ahead and coast to the playoffs, get me a couple playoff checks. Aaron Rodgers, you good? Oh, no, you not? Let me go try to be a backup. Vaccination will be an issue with the Cowboys. I ain't got to do nothing. Chill back here. We in Dallas, no state tax. I'm chilling, great city, star in Frisco, great practice facility. Let me go be a backup where life is more kosher than in New England, where we know it's a grind, and they might not make the playoffs.
Oh, man. So you're just telling him in your movie to just walk off set with no options and nothing in hand. Okay. I can tell you went up to your defensive coordinator and say, look, let me go if you're not going to keep me and let me play. Where your agent at, first of all? Why he ain't doing all this dirty work for you? You're supposed to always be the good cop. Let them be the bad cop. But now Acho wanted to be the bad cop. Did they release you? Yeah. Is Cam gone? Yeah. Y'all need to listen to me, man. I'm old for a reason. Here's the thing. So Cam walks off set. Let's go somewhere else. Everywhere you go, Cam, there you are. Your biggest issue is going to be the vaccination. Like, they won't say this. I'm here to tell you, America, the NFL won't say it, the coaches won't say it, anybody say it. No one wants to mess with the money anymore. they're not even going deeper than that. They don't want to go into your political stance. They don't want to go into your health position on it. They just want to say, look, we are, if we stay together, going to make a lot of money. If you don't want to stay on this side, you're going to have a different reality. If you can't live and safely live in that reality, we don't have room for you because we're going to mess up the money. That said, where can he go? He can't go to Washington. Ron Rivera, like, good riddance, part one. Two, Ron Rivera, his health has been compromised, and he's also been a champion of the vaccine. Where's he going to go, to Dallas, where 100% of the staff is vaccinated and 93% of the players are vaccinated? And Jerry Jones like, we're not doing that there. We'll see how that plays out. So I'll take the bird in the hand, which is employment. You're telling him to go be unemployed to go to a better place. But there's no better place right now that's presented itself, so I want to stay employed.
The reason is this. If Cam Newton isn't top 32, I would have to assume he's top 64. I would have to make that assumption. Top 64 at the quarterback position. So I would give me my freedom. Let me trust myself. Hopefully, one of these other teams won't see me as a starter, but I'm clearly better than their backup. Yeah. Let me go land at a team that I know will make the playoffs, or at least a team where practice is more fun. A team where I'm more accepted.
You're a quarterback. It's always fun. You talking about linebacker.
But you could go to the Cardinals even, where like it's Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury ain't chilling. They be chilling. They ain't going to be mad at you for listening to rap music. You're not the biggest star on the team because Hopkins is there. J.J. Watt is there. Kyler Murray is there. I would just, if I'm Cam, being released was the best move for me. Because now, Sel, he's subject to a backup role if he stays in New England. A backup role which he on the record did not want. Yes, it was 8 months ago, but a backup role he on the record did not want. Now as a free agent, at least he can try to go find a starting role or go find a backup role you're happier with.
No one is more popular on the NFL team that is struggling than the backup. True. We've kind of morphed the conversation from right move to release him to should Cam want to go. That said, I've just seen the benefits, the equity that you gain by being the backup in a position where you see your starter going up and down. He's a rookie. How great can Mac Jones be? Not wishing him any ill, but riding that through versus let me just hop and go somewhere else where there's right now no potential place to go because of his vaccination status. And let's be real, didn't look the best at the quarterback position last year. And let's just be real, you didn't distance yourself from a rookie who just came into the league. Tough sledding if you're Cam Newton right now. We'll see how it plays out. Cam Newton is a former MVP, but right now he does not have a team. Three-time Pro Bowler was released today by the Patriots after 1 year in New England. Newton started all 3 preseason games, but the Patriots are moving on to who? Rookie Mac Jones. So, what does this mean for Cam's career?
Days as a starter are done. Let's call a spade, and has nothing to do with anybody's personal preference on Cam Newton. His days as a starter are done because of simple math. Last year, there was one team that was willing to consider Cam Newton a starter. It was the Patriots. It was not Washington, coached by his former coach in Ron Rivera, the same coach that drafted him. It wasn't Washington. It wasn't anybody else but the Patriots. So if there's one team that considered Cam a starter and that one team no longer considers Cam a starter, where does that leave Cam Newton? So many people say, again, he could go with Washington and Rivera. Man, last year Rivera had Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, and an injured Alex Smith and didn't want Cam Newton. So what leads you to believe Rivera will want him now? Cam Newton was only $5.5 million last year. Rivera could pay that out his own pocket. So it's not like Cam was overly expensive. The other issue at hand is there are only about 3 or 4 teams that are looking for a starter. The Denver Broncos, but their management has missed every year besides the Peyton year. So they can't afford that. The Saints, they figured out their position. Jets, they got their young stud. Jaguars got their young stud. Niners got their young stud. Nobody else is really looking for a starter, if not Washington, if not Denver. Washington's out. Denver's out. I don't see it, Sel. I don't see where he can land and where he can go. My thoughts are Cam's days as a starter are over. Now the question is, Cam, are you willing to be a backup? I can see if you're not. In all honesty, you signed a $100 million deal, if I'm not mistaken, years ago. You made plenty of money. You're a superstar. Why would you want to go be a backup, make $1 million, $2 million annually, when you could go make that in 5 days speaking around the country. So, as I see it, Sel, I'm not going to say his career is over unless he wants it to be, but his days as a starter are done.
Cam is done. Not just as a starter.
What that mean?
Not just as a backup.
Oh, God.
Cam done with the NFL. I'm going to tell you. I'm a layer of this. Even when I say that, it feels shock jock. Even when I say it feels like hot take. And you know I hate a hot take. But damn it, I'm just putting this together and layering it brick by brick. I'm like, Cam's done. Here's the start. Is he a starter anywhere? You look at the rosters, you look at the positions available and opportunities, it's so slim. And then you're like, I don't see him there, I don't see him there. So Cam Newton as a starter, we would agree, he's done. Then you get caught into the second layer, which I call the Kurt Warner perception. Kurt Warner talked about this. After being a Super Bowl MVP, after being an NFL MVP, Kurt Warner found himself as a backup to a young Eli Manning. And he said one of the toughest things was changing the perception of him. But first, he had to fight off the own perception that he was buying into. Am I really a backup? Am I not? So then there's also that internal fight, that internal dilemma, that internal confidence that you're trying to gain when the world is starting to look at you differently. Now, Kurt Warner went to the next layer, which Cam Newton has to deal with. The easy part is trying to get yourself back. Like, all right, you know, I'm still Cam Newton, I still got it, yeah. Do a few Instagram posts and you're back. Here's the problem. Teams don't look at you the same way you look at yourself. So now you got to deal with team perception. And team perception is not just you're less of who you used to be, but also you're more of a distraction than you've ever been. Because we're not going to get much out of you if you're a backup, but we're going to get all of you in terms of just the attention and the oxygen you're going to suck up out the room. Okay. Now we're going to get into the nit and the grit. Hey, Cam, come here. You going to get vaccinated? Are you vaccinated? What's the vaccination status? Let's just talk about that. Now, that's going to come with a direct answer. And that direct answer may be as indirect as it's been. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. It's with my family and my friends. Oh, okay. Now, come on, man. Whenever a coach used to go, okay to me, I was like, oh, this ain't going to end good. This is not going to end well. So his vaccination status is going to come into play because of the compromise it will do to a team. There are two stark, distant realities between the vaccinated and unvaccinated players in the NFL. You guys check the rules. Here's the next one. Here's the nit and the grit. His vaccination status comes up, and he's boxed in on his vaccination opinion and status. If not, why wouldn't you cave? Why wouldn't you compromise? Why wouldn't you do it? Because it's politicized. Vaccination is supposed to be about health. It's about politics now. People love you for doing it, love you, and hate you if you don't. And it's like, now, Cam, will you flip on what the public opinion is of you and your vaccination status? All that added up, slice. It makes me say that I don't think Cam Newton is going to make it through those hurdles. I don't think Cam Newton is going to survive that test and that race. I think Cam Newton's done, bro.
Let me put some factuality to your statement. 2 nights ago, I was rapping with my homeboy, Super Bowl champion, 29 years of age, in the league last year, free agent right now. And he was telling me, I was like, hey, well, why aren't you playing? Why aren't you on the squad, et cetera? He was like, man, a couple things. Number one, trying to get healthy, this, that, and the third. But before I go work out at any team, they asked me if I'm vaccinated. He was like, and I'm still weighing those decisions. Took a couple steps back, put my mask on, lean back in, continued the conversation. And I was like, oh, so this is real. I just want y'all at home to know that Marcellus ain't talking out his ears and I'm not just up here making stuff up. NFL teams, before they even bring you in for a workout, are asking, hey, big dog, you vaccinated? Because it's not just about you. Put context to all of this. Dak Prescott making $75 million this year. Say the Cowboys were like, ooh, Cam would make a really good fit for Dak Prescott. Dak got hurt running the ball last year. We can bring him in, run some zone options with Zeke in the goal line, bring Cam Newton in. But Cam's not vaxxed. Cam tests positive for COVID. Thus, Dak has an exposure. Now Dak can't play in the game. Y'all already know Dak making about $4 million every single Sunday. Cowboys ain't going to risk that, nor would it be a wise business decision to do that. So that's the first issue, to your point. Just want to make sure I bring some factuality and actuality to that.
Yeah.
Now I think the second issue, Sel, is Cam doesn't want to be a backup. Period.
We're going to talk about that.
Nor can he wrap his head around being a backup. And I get it. Yeah, I get it. Like D. Wade, remember, he ain't really want to come off the bench for a while. And then he was like, you know what? my body telling me I got to come off the bench, or coaches are telling me I got to come off the bench. It's the nature of the beast. It is hard to go from being a superstar to a lesser per individual. I'd rather go from a superstar to retired, but it's hard to walk down that escalator. You're better off just getting off of the elevator altogether and chilling. So I might concede that Cam's NFL career is over, but if his NFL career is over, I think it is his choice. I don't think it's for lack of NFL teams. I think he's saying, y'all going to consider me as a starter? They say no. He says, I'm good.
Yeah, it's weird. I just say he's done because I don't think that he wants to go through all of these rigors. And it's layered. I mean, I just gave you 6 layers, and I stopped short just because I want to hear what you got to say. It's not just about money. Backups can make money. Taysom Hill was making $17 million, and Drew Brees was on the roster. So you can get paid as a backup, but are you perceived as somebody who has that future? Are you perceived as somebody who has that contribution? Cam Newton's not perceived that way, as I explained before. So it's not just about that. It's not just about vaccinated status, even though what no one wants to say, because no one wants to take away your freedom of choice. But they're also saying, look, you being unvaccinated not only compromises our team, but there are kids 12 years and younger that's going to be around the facilities, that the owner's grandchildren, whoever, who can't get the vaccination, who will be compromised because now they can't come to the stadium because we got a percentage of kids, players that are unvaccinated. We can't have that, man. My grandson loves coming up to the ball game. Here's the thing that's also interesting. Cam Newton didn't test positive for COVID this year. Last year he did. This year, just in contact. And we already back here again. If you were the New England Patriots, that's a problem. But your telling point is about how Cam is not going to wrap his head around being a backup. Let me tell you, I was never Cam Newton. Y'all know it. I was never a superstar. I had star moments. Billboards, on the tickets, on the program. Oh, the face of the team. Who was that? Go get Wiley and a couple other guys. Junior Seau, Rodney Harrison, et cetera. LT. I was there. I'm starting lower than Cam. The day I became a backup, when I got in the league, I was behind Bruce Smith. I didn't even call myself a backup. I was like, no, I'm behind Bruce Smith. That's different. If I was anywhere else, I'd be starting, right? Lying to myself. But when I was a starter, I was a starter. I was, man, balling. What? The day when I got to Jacksonville, and they was like, you can fight for the position, Marcellus. And then the day I lost that position to Paul Spicer, and I was like, I am a backup in the NFL. Oh, I looked at my watch. The clock was ticking. Everything changes when you a backup. Man, they don't treat you the same. Damn, they don't laugh at them jokes. Damn, you don't get eye contact. Sometimes they leave their helmets and look at you in jest and be like, get the helmets, Wiley. I'm about to curse. Bro, who the hell you think I am? Cam Newton, the first time he hears that jokey joke that is for lesser players, which he now finds himself in that same position, man, he ain't going to be ready for that. So everything else layered on top of that, I don't see Cam playing, bro.
So the last thing I'm going to do is this. Let's remove the sting from the vaccine, and let's just simply talk ball, talk real life.
Let's go.
Cam Newton missed a game last year for a cause. Missed a game last year for a cause. A game, if you ask Bill Belichick, he would say he could have won against the Kansas City Chiefs. His backup quarterbacks turned the ball over in the red zone a few times. So Cam Newton misses a game because of a cause. Research comes out that this cause can either be avoidable or mitigated.
Yeah.
One of the two. It can be avoidable or it can be mitigated. Cam Newton does nothing about avoiding or mitigating this cause. Now he misses practice again for the same cause. Oh. If you are running a team, you're looking at Cam Newton like, well, we got to do something about you if you ain't going to do something about it. So, again, I like oftentimes stepping away from the direct talking point so you can remove the sting from it. It ain't even got to be COVID. It ain't got to be a vaccine. If you miss time in the NFL for something, and then you find out that the thing you missed time for can now be avoided or at least reduced, and you miss time for it again, oh, we got to do something about you, big dog. And it's really, unfortunately, that simple in the NFL.
There it is, man. Whew, NFL. Once again, living up to the acronym. Not for long. Tua is the Dolphins starter, but reports say they have engaged in trade talks for Deshaun Watson. Texas quarterback has been accused of sexual assault and harassment in lawsuits by several women. But reports say Houston is not expected to trade him before today's cut-down deadline. Dolphins head coach Brian Flores was asked about his philosophy on giving players second chances. Listen, y'all.
There's a lot of things that we weigh when we're making decisions. Fit on the team, overall talent, salary cap. There's a lot of variables there. We want a group that's tough, that's smart, that's competitive, that loves to play, that's team first. I think those are the types of guys we're looking for. We want the people with high character and throughout the building. Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Ooh, I love working with a player. So, Acho, how interested should the Dolphins be in Deshaun Watson? Let's talk.
They should be incredibly interested, but it is not an indictment on Tua. I believe all but 6 teams in the NFL should be incredibly interested in Deshaun Watson. If you do not have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, then you should probably be interested in Deshaun Watson because of how good he is. So, yes, the Dolphins need to be interested. Let me preface with all of this. First off, Tua, I think, is going to be a dude. Anybody who tells you Tua cannot play is lying.
Okay.
They're not lying intentionally, but they're lying because they don't have all the information. I talked to a top-flight Dolphins cornerback just a month or so ago, and he had told me, bro, when Tua went into the game last year, they shrunk the playbook down for Tua. Remember, Tua not only was coming off of an injury, the hip injury in November of his last year in college, but Tua was also dealing with a playbook that was not broadened for his skill set. As a result, don't nobody know how good Tua can be because we haven't seen it. So anybody who tells you Tua can't go is lying, and it might not be an intentional lie, but it's a lie nonetheless. Back to Deshaun. Deshaun is so good, big dog,
Yeah, beast.
that how could you not be interested in Deshaun as your starting quarterback? I think he's 26 years of age. He was top 5 in every statistical category last year. 25 years of age, big dog?
That's what it says right
25.
here. You tell me.
Top 5 in every statistical category last year and was still on a terrible team. Top 5 even though he lost the best receiver in the National Football League. We saw what a top 3 receiver could do for Josh Allen. Now imagine what Deshaun Watson did in spite of losing a top 3 receiver. That just goes to tell you how good he is. The last thing of note is Deshaun Watson has been this good in spite of his coaching. He shows up, and Bill O'Brien is his head coach. Bill O'Brien didn't even start Deshaun Watson his rookie year. Deshaun Watson ends up taking over for Tom Savage, if I'm not mistaken, and is a NFL MVP candidate before tearing his ACL. Tears his ACL, oh my gosh, can he come back? Bounces back to ball again, has been to the playoffs, has won a playoff game, and now last year top 5. So every team, including the Miami Dolphins, should be interested in Deshaun Watson. But it's not an indictment of Tua. It's just praise of how good Deshaun is.
Okay, we're about to get into it right now. Because I think not only the Dolphins should have 0 interest, it also should maybe go as far as negative interest in Deshaun Watson. Let's talk ball first, because the other layer is going to get deeper. The ball first, you can't deny his talent. Like, top 5 in the league, talent. But talent doesn't always translate to what matters most in the league, which is winning, correct? Okay. Close your eyes. We did this experiment yesterday, but you were on vacation and making money. I heard about the event you did. So here's the thing. You close your eyes. Who's more talented, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers' talent.
It's not even close, right? Now, open your eyes. How many rings you see in Aaron Rodgers? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say rings? Ringa. See, that's the problem with Deshaun Watson with me. All of that talent doesn't translate. I remind people, the 4 years before Deshaun Watson got to the franchise, to save the franchise, they were 29-35. They were 1-2 in the playoffs in 4 years. You know what their record is with Deshaun Watson? 29-35. 1-2 in the playoffs. Exactly the same record. You mean to tell me as great as you are and as great as we had it, we are no better off? That's an indictment that is damning. Here's part 2. Your price tag's too high, bro. Like, good Lord, 3 first-rounders for a guy that, let's just say, potentially may not play this year, potentially may not play ever again. I don't know how this is going to play out in terms of he has real life issues. This is one reason I'm not talking about Deshaun Watson in any unflattering way right now, because he is dealing with real life. His consequences aren't, oh, well, 2-game suspension for... dog, he has real-life issues to deal with. So I'm going to let that play itself out before I go there. But price tag too high when there's uncertainty that you'll be available, correct? We agree on that. Okay. Now let's also talk about, we just planted the Tua seed, a top 5 pick. A Tua seed that won 6 games, only lost 3. That's number 3 all time in terms of win percentage as a rookie. We gonna now just uproot it because we gonna go give 3 first-rounders to Houston and he may not play. Man, stop. I'm gonna stop right there because my second layer is gonna get gangster.
On purpose with this, agreeing with you, big dog.
Okay.
3 first-round picks in 2 seconds doing way too much. For all that, give me Tua. Give me Tua and keep my 3 first-round picks in my 2 seconds. Y'all good on that. Y'all go ahead and keep Deshaun. However, the Texans' price for Deshaun is going to continually decrease because the Texans are paying Deshaun Watson millions of dollars every week, and he's not playing.
He's not even playing.
So at the end of the day, the Texans are looking at Deshaun on Sundays, looking at Deshaun Monday through Saturdays and saying, dang, we got you here and getting nothing for you. We might as well at least get something in return. But, Sel,
let's go.
We got to talk on Deshaun's greatness a little bit more to hammer the point home.
All right.
We know Bill O'Brien is not a good NFL head coach. All in agreement?
Yes.
We're on agreement.
Yeah,
so you have a bad head coach, and you still went 11-5, 10-5, and 3-3 your first year with a bad head coach. Now, in the midst of your head coach getting fired and a replacement head coach and all that, you go 4-12. But with a bad head coach, you went 11-5, 10-5? Imagine what you could do with a quality head coach. We know Brian Flores is a quality head coach because Brian Flores is out here winning 9 and 10 games without Deshaun Watson. Now, you give me a good head coach plus a good quarterback, typically that's a combination for Super Bowls. Bruce Arians, Tom Brady. Belichick, Tom Brady. Sean Payton, Breeze. Aaron Rodgers and his average head coach.
Oh, no. You got caught.
His average head coach.
I was thinking about that.
Winning coach. You ain't going to get me.
Yes, Mike McCarthy.
Anytime you give me a good head coach and a good quarterback, I can at least get you to the dance.
Yeah.
We know Flores is good. We know Deshaun is good.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for a dance.
Look, it's about the price tag, though. See, you can't go shopping with me. You sound like my wife. I love that bag. I remember she saw this bag, and it was called Hermes. I called it Herms. And she's like, that's a Hermes. And I was like, how much did it cost? I don't give a damn if that bag walked up, went into the bank, and got money out. I ain't never buying that bag ever in my life. It's about the price tag. I'm not shooting at Deshaun. Deshaun a beast. Deshaun costs too much right now. They're going to have to change that price tag if they want somebody to be serious about trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. It's just that simple. But let's go deeper than that. Are you an outcast? Brian Flores been around the game too long. Now, I don't know Brian Flores like that, but trust me, I want to meet this dude because he keep it 100. When Kaepernick was going on in that issue in the Miami and the kneeling, he showed me something. He looked at those players. He said, I ain't even going to make a decision on y'all. I'm not even going to pass a judgment on y'all. I'm just going to let y'all know what I'm thinking through action. And then, you remember he went out there and played the Jay-Z songs like 8 in a row just to let y'all know, hey, man, like, y'all tripping? Anybody problem? Y'all can't practice? And that told me something about Brian Flores. I've seen some of the videos and him talk about his upbringing and his mindset. I respect this man fully. Now, if you've been around the game like Brian Flores has, and Acho, you've played the game, so I know you've been around it, there's something that we call a stupid tax, right? And Deshaun, you're going to pay the stupid tax. This is not talking about your cases, your issues, anything like that. This is Brian Flores' thinking. And don't think that you can't pay a stupid tax because the NFL and coaches are not going to tell Cam Newton to get vaccinated. He's just going to see him lose his job or not get another opportunity because of what he did. Here's the situation with Brian Flores. And I tell you, I swear this is what he must be saying to himself. Bro, I don't know what you did or what you didn't do. I don't believe them. I don't believe you. I don't believe anything. It's not up to me to believe this. But I know from my experiences, anybody who puts themselves in a position to have, as accounts say, over 40 different massage therapists within 2 calendar years makes me question what's going on with that person. I'm going to tell you why. Because you know, as we played, I don't know if you had multiple massage therapists. I tried to find one and I was done. Like, yes, this is life. Because this is the person that actually gets me right to perform the best. 40, whatever you want to go with that, Brian Flores is sitting there saying, we want people of high character, because he doesn't know how you can respond and answer that in a high character resolution. 40-plus massage therapists is the deepest part about this. Brian Flores ain't going to admit to this. Brian Flores ain't going to say nothing like that. He going to have a muscular move, which means I'm going to extinguish this conversation about Deshaun Watson and pump up Tua by just saying high character and leave it at that.
But Sal, call a spade, big dog. You do not have to look around the league very hard. You need no microscope to find guys with suspect character in locker rooms.
Oh, facts.
I am not saying that Deshaun Watson is a low-character guy. You know me. You know I've met Deshaun several times. Was with him as recently as a month ago out there in Austin, Texas. So that's not what I'm saying. But I do know this. There's a whole bunch of suspect character guys around the National Football League.
Oh, facts.
The question is, what's your level of talent look like? Because it goes back down to your equation and my equation. That distraction cannot exceed talent. Deshaun Watson's talent level is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane.
So, Brian Flores, you talking, but don't say you're not interested in the person just because you can't get him. Don't tell me you're not interested. Oh, I don't. Because to your point, Sel.
I know where you're going.
To your point. We are here.
No.
I know
You my wife right now. The bag on sale, baby.
No. You walk into the store. Now, it's not Marcellus Wiley, but make it Emmanuel Lacho.
Hell no.
Let me walk into the store and in future life, and, I really like that Hermes bag. I don't like it. It's not I don't like it. It's that I can't afford it. So I'm going to say I don't like it, because if I say I don't like it, I feel better about myself and nobody else will judge me. But at the end of the day, I like it. I just can't afford it. So be real, Brian Flores.
Oh,
Be
really?
real,
I think he is.
Dolphins.
Okay.
Y'all like Deshaun. Y'all just might not be able to afford Deshaun right now. 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. I'm not saying you should, because the Hermes bag, like Deshaun Watson, is overpriced. But don't tell me you don't like it. Just tell me you can't afford it.
Oh, so, okay, let's live in this alternate universe where the bag is on sale, which I don't think those bags go on sale, but it is on sale right now.
Bentleys don't go on sale.
They don't. Louis, all that. Damn, look this up. So it's not even a conversation, do I like it? Of course, who doesn't evaluate talent at the quarterback position and not love Deshaun Watson? But then it gets to a point where, what if Houston just woke up and said, you know what? Y'all gonna have him for a bag of chips. Like, we ain't tripping. Everybody gonna get in line, you think? I don't know about that, because you ever been in a position where now you're looking at something like, I like it. All right, I'll take it. Now, do you really want it? Are you really going to go through what it costs to get that? Here's the cost of Deshaun. It would be great if Deshaun just showed up, nice bag, everybody gave you compliments and trip. But you start watching this situation with Deshaun, he still has things that he has to deal with going further. You can't take the sensor off. Let me stop. You can't take the sensor off this bag, because this bag has the NFL looming, waiting for investigation to conclude. All this stuff the dust has to settle. And that's the problem with Deshaun. You gave me, he costs too much. You gave me, okay, he is not going to be in a position where he can play. You gave me also that he's top 5, but he can't win like a top 5 guy. That's a lot of conversation and question marks about a guy who should just come in and be a plug and play. All right, we done? Man, I know where I'm going after the show, shopping with my wife.
Let's head back to New England, where big changes are happening, because Cam Newton was released earlier today, and Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback. Now, this morning, Bill Belichick said Cam was headed in, quote, the right direction when asked about his preseason and training camp. I guess the right direction was towards the door.
The Greyhound.
Well, we are joined by Torrey Smith. I guess he doesn't take delight in our jokes.
Yeah, he played with Cam.
2-time Super Bowl champion, former teammate of Cam Newton. Torrey Smith was a dude, still is a dude now on television. My dog. Torrey, was it the right move to release Cam Newton?
I don't think it was the right move when it comes to having as strong of a roster as possible. You're not going to find a better backup than Cam Newton if you do decide to go with their first-round quarterback. However, I do understand the move. When you draft your quarterback in the first round, it's not a matter of if, but when are they going to play. Now, he did a great job this entire preseason going out making plays. And to be honest, he earned the opportunity to play. I don't think Cam did enough to lose the job. I thought he earned the right to go out there and to get that start this year. But if you're going to decide to go with your first-round quarterback and you have someone hovering behind him like Cam Newton, The first time he makes a mistake, folks are going to call for him, so I get it. They set a line, and it's clear who their starting quarterback is moving forward, and the organization just cut their ties, and we can't forget that the contract allowed that. Cam wasn't guaranteed a lot in the beginning, which is why they didn't have to keep him, and it was a very team-friendly deal, and they took advantage of it. They gave Cam his shot, and they allowed their rookie to develop, and he took full advantage of his reps.
Yeah, I thought it was the wrong move. Just because you can't assume that Cam can't or won't be a backup. And I think a lot of this is just weighing on the fact that, I can't see Cam in the room being a backup in support of Mac Jones. I can't see him suppressing his ego and his superstar status just to be a cheerleader. Let that man make that decision for himself. I know me in that position, I would take employment. Pay me while I figure out what's next for me in my endeavors versus assume what you think I can or can't do. That said, I want to remind people, because this happens all the time, that the NFL and its 1,800-plus players are not talent-based decisions fully. The 1,800 or so players that make the rosters are not the best football players in the world. They're the survivors of a process and rigors to make themselves professional football players. I know I grew up with a lot of guys who had more talent than me, but for one reason or another, myriad of reasons, they found themselves on the outside of their dreams. Same thing even when you become an NFL player, that you, based on decisions, based on choices, can find yourself outside of your dreams in terms of opportunity. So Cam Newton right now is more talented than the worst starter in the NFL. Duh. Should he be on their roster? Absolutely. But the choice and choices that Cam Newton made in terms of vaccination status, in terms of leadership, whatever you want to call it, they're trying to replicate that Tom Brady model. Why? Because it was so successful. Now they get Mac Jones, who has the same shoe size, it seems like, exactly as Tom Brady. And then Cam Newton being the outsider to that culture, but certainly being a love and being a part of that culture. And Bill Belichick had an affinity for Cam Newton. That said, this was too perfect for them to deny, to dismiss what Mac Jones presented an opportunity. So now Cam Newton finds himself on the wrong side of the employment line.
Fellas, it was the right move. Torrey, it was the right move in my opinion because it was the best move for Cam Newton as well as being the best move for the team. Best move for Cam Newton because on January 4th, he said, I do not want to be a backup. He actually said, are you asking me if I want to be a backup? Hell no, close quote. So Cam don't want to be a backup. So it was a right move for Cam Newton, check. Right move for the team because why in the world would you want a former NFL MVP hovering behind your rookie number 15 overall first-round pick quarterback? You wouldn't. Because when Mac Jones struggles, in the event Mac Jones struggles for a game or two, people are going to wonder, man, we got Cam Newton back there. You've seen the workout videos. He looks the part. Don't put that kind of pressure on Mac Jones. Let Mac Jones go out there, sink or swim. And if he does start to sink, he's going to learn how to swim on the fly. But if you got Cam back there, that's a life raft that will not aid the development of Mac Jones. So it was the right move because it was the right move for Cam. And in all reality, it was the right move for New England as well. Sure, Torrey, Cam Newton is a better than average backup quarterback. We know that. He's a fringe starter. But a roster is also comprised of chemistry. And Cam Newton don't want to be a backup. So how you think Cam Newton is going to feel and or act on the practice field every day when he's running scout team now? Now it's, hey, Cam, put on that Josh Allen jersey and come give us a look. Hey, Cam, come out here and give us a couple Tua reads. Cam, can you throw the ball left-handed? Remember, Tua's left-handed. Can you throw the ball left-handed? Like, Cam ain't trying to do that, y'all. Cam ain't been no scout team player, and y'all want to make him scout team? Nah, not going to happen.
Oh, man.
I mean, where else would he go at this point of the year? It's a terrible move right now for Cam. There aren't any starting jobs available. So if you're going to a new team, you are 100% going to be a backup right away. So now it's where can you go? What situation can you go to where you can prove that you can be the guy for them the following year? Or if their quarterback gets hurt, you can have the opportunity to shine. I think of Dallas, a place where Dak's health may be questionable. I'm praying for him. I love Dak to death, and I hope he plays every single game. But the reality of it is that's not promised right now. I think the best situation for Cam is to simply go to a place where he can have a coaching staff fall in love with him, continue to work, because any player that's ever started and played in the league knows this is the worst week of the year to try to find a job. And it stinks for Cam, but I know him and the way he works. And even how he came back this season, he started to look like himself somewhat. He had a small sample size from this preseason, but I saw his arm strength continue to get better and look way better than it was after he first had his surgery. So I was expecting Cam to go out and be Cam. And he's a unique individual. He's literally a one of one. So when he's on the field, the way he prepares, the way he acts, he's a gamer. And some things, the preseason isn't going to be the best place to judge Cam ever. It's going to be when those lights come on Sundays. And I'm mad that he's not going to get that shot considering how hard he worked this year. I understand the business move, but it seems like it's not going to happen unless there's an injury somewhere.
Interesting. And you talk about him being a gamer. You know, he didn't have one rushing attempt this preseason, and that's one of his strong suits, obviously, after having 12 touchdowns last year. So he wasn't even fairly analyzed this year. That said, you brought up how timing right now, the timing is everything, and this is the worst time to be out there on the streets trying to find employment. This takes me back to some conversations I used to have with some of my single homegirls. Where out your face at? My single homegirl used to come up to me, always talking about how they wanted to find a man and this and that. And I used to just listen to them. And then I started to realize, man, these are some crazy standards you're setting for this invisible person that doesn't exist. So I used to come up with this Wileyism and just always stop the conversation right here. Don't miss the boat waiting on a yacht. Now, here's the problem. Cam Newton sitting in this situation, and Acho, you could tell he winning in life, because Acho talking from high on the horse. Talk about, oh, man, Cam don't want to be a backup. He don't want to be on scout team. He don't want to do all that, because Acho can't see himself back at, what was it, the Big 12 network or something you was doing? Acho can't go backwards, and Cam Newton couldn't go backwards when he was winning. But right now, this is a different position. When your belly button is touching your spine and you hungry for something, oh, that ego gets deflated real fast. You start talking a different song and singing a different tune. Cam Newton in this position, I don't know what he can do. I don't know what he will do. But I know I'm going to give him the opportunity to be the best backup in the world on the New England Patriots. I wouldn't make this assumption that he couldn't run scout team and just be sitting there silently wishing for Mac Jones to struggle or to get hurt, as all backups do. So I don't know why we just keep going past that step. Like Cam Newton because he's a superstar. Cam Newton because he wears big hats. Cam Newton because he likes rap music, Zolak. All that said, why can't Cam Newton be a backup? I need that answer before I start talking about where he should land.
Let me answer this for you, Torrey. Let me look at my dog. Let me look at something. I need to look at all y'all right now.
Don't miss the boat. Waiting on the yacht, bro.
What they say, man, wasn't it Batman? It's better that you die a hero than live long enough to become a villain. It's better you die a superstar than you live long enough to become mediocre.
Really?
I think so. We've seen it in the NBA. We've seen some cats in the NBA. Like, you don't see a bunch of dudes go from being a superstar to, well, now they just coming off the bench. And if so, they do it for a year. Remember Dirk with the Mavericks? He was like, okay, I'm going on year 20. Like, what am I still doing? I'll mess around, go on one little fantasy tour, come off the bench for a year. The late, great Kobe Bryant, Sel, I'm sure you went to one of the reunion games.
Oh, yeah.
Even Kobe long outplayed what his body could allow. But
what about
Kobe
Jordan with
wasn't
the
about to be a
Wizards?
backup.
What about Jordan with the Wizards?
Jordan with the Wizards still put up 55 in a game.
Yeah, yeah. What about Melo right now? Carmelo right now?
He didn't have a choice, okay? He was on the street for a year.
Now we talking.
He was on the street for a year.
Cam was on the street for a year.
Cam was on the street for a summer.
Well, I mean, it felt like it.
It did feel like it.
And a pandemic.
So as I look at it, y'all, I'm just like, what's the point? Y'all, like, if Cam Newton is a backup, what's he going to make? 2.5 mil a year, maybe 3 a year? Remember, he only got 5.5 or 7.5 last year as a starter. So what's he going to make as a backup? And what is the point? If I'm Cam, I wouldn't want to be a backup either. It's starter or it's bust for me. I've had an illustrious career. I won an MVP. I went to the Super Bowl. I had a $100 million contract. I am a dude. I'm not nobody's backup dude.
Oh, man, look, Torrey, I think Cam's career is over for various reasons, but to highlight him, his vaccination status and choice, the perception of him. This is horrible timing to be released right now, and it's horrible timing in terms of what he put on film last year at the quarterback position, despite some improvements this summer. What say you, Torrey? Is Cam's career over?
No, I think if a team can get him in the door and he can prove to them that he is who he is, again, we mentioned pride, right? Pride as to why he wouldn't want to be a backup. Sometimes you have to look at it and say, hey, it is what it is. But if you want something bad enough, you'll do it. Understanding who you are and positioning yourself to go out there and get a job. And that's what I see him wanting to do. Can't do not know, works his tail off, and wants to prove to everyone that he still has it. Not even prove to everyone, prove to himself that he still has it. You know, watching him battle through those injuries, watching the way he was rehabbing, watching the way he approached it, watching the way he takes care of himself away from the facility, you can't tell me this cat doesn't want it. And so for him to have that opportunity again, it may not look the way you want it to in terms of that opportunity there, but I see no reason as to why he wouldn't take that shot to be a backup, to try to put himself in better position for next season. Because guess what? If he goes home and he just chills out in Atlanta, then nothing's going to happen and people are going to forget about him. That'd be the worst thing that can happen for his career. And I'm for sure in this corner, I think he can do it.
Now, Torrey, Marcellus says this all the time. You don't hear it because you don't come on often enough. Would love to have you more often.
Yeah.
Marcellus always makes fun of me for being single, Torrey.
Super single.
I know. I cry myself to sleep at night. It's true. But in my singledom, I've learned this, Torrey, that love isn't enough. And just in the manner that love isn't enough, want isn't enough. Ooh. Cam Newton wanting it appears not to be enough. Now, Torrey, the other thing you'll know about this show, about us as we listen, you said this in your first sentence. He can prove to a team he is who he is. My question to you is, who is he? You were there in 2018.
Yeah.
In 2017, he was a dude. He was that dude. But, Torrey, in 2018, the year that you arrived, and I will not blame it on you, Torrey Smith. I saw you win 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams. But in 2018, Torrey, the year you arrived, Cam Newton was no longer a dude. So you tell me, because you were there and witnessed it firsthand as his shoulders started to act up on him, who is Cam Newton?
Listen, before Cam hurt his shoulder, and you're right, I was there. I saw it with my own 2 eyes each and every day. He looked like the best player in the league during that stretch. And he might have jinxed himself by saying he feels like he's playing the best ball of his career because he ended up getting hurt that following week. But the reality of it was you saw all the things that made him Cam Newton, his mobility, his arm strength. He has the ability to make every single throw. Now, after those injuries, you saw the struggles, his shoulder, his foot. You guys know how to be in tune with your body. Like, everything has to operate together. And those were tough injuries to deal with over those couple of seasons. And I think now, last year doesn't really count. He didn't really have that summer. And going into this season, this was supposed to be the year where he goes out.
Bring me back on camera, please. Bring me back on camera, please.
Going, Torrey.
See, Torrey. You said last year don't count. I got to ask myself, because I love Cam Newton, but at the same time, I love the truth. And Marcellus, he's branded me with this facts over feelings mindset, Torrey. Okay, 2018, Cam Newton was 6-8. Okay, we can say that didn't count. 2019, he was 0-2 and then got hurt. We can say that didn't count. 2020, he was 7-8, but you just told me that didn't count. If you're a GM, Torrey, when does it count? We going back to 2017?
No, you have to watch what you're looking at because that year he was hurt. Listen, It wasn't just him. I will tell you that. It was not just him. But I think when you talk about last season, what do we complain about with the quarterbacks all the time? Having the reps and the time with their receivers, with their weapons. Well, he was on the streets until 2 weeks before camp. Comes into camp, gets to playing, gets COVID, throws everything off. So that last year was more of a wash-type season, and considering that it felt like half of their team wasn't there, that's a problem as well, and everyone complained about their weapon. Now you go into this season, they added some free agents. The offense is definitely going to be better this year. The offensive line is a little better than it was last year as well. Now the team improved, and he doesn't get the opportunity to go out there and do it with them. Again, I get it was a battle, and we all know that when you draft the quarterback in the first round, it's not a matter of if, but when are they getting on the field. New England's made their move, and I feel like Cam can still play at a high level. I would be willing to bet on it. Guess what? Now it's a low-risk situation for a team if you bring him in. You can watch him over the year, see him with your own 2 eyes, and then see what happens next season.
I double down on that same bet. Make me a believer again, Cam. I still believe in you. Make these teams give you an opportunity, even as a backup. Like in Pulp Fiction, the great Marcellus Wallace once said, pride, funk pride. Come on, Cam, let's get it back. Let's head back to New England. Cam Newton is a former MVP, but he's no longer with the Patriots. The 3-time Pro Bowler was released today after 1 year in New England. Newton started all 3 preseason games, but the Patriots are moving on to rookie Mac Jones. Got to bring in NFL Fox analyst Greg Jennings. And Greg, I think Cam's NFL career is over. Hopefully I'm wrong. What do you think this means for Cam's NFL career?
Well, I hope I'm wrong, too. I think it's over as well, unless he changes his mind in becoming a backup. And why do I say that? Because there is no team that is looking for Cam Newton to be their starter. Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots are typically the team that takes someone's trash or damaged goods or what they no longer want, and he turns it into something that is more valuable the next year. Well, that didn't work. That wasn't the case with Cam. This was an experiment. This was an opportunity that Cam had last season to make that happen. And when it didn't, and then this happens, he opens the door for Mac Jones. Now you say, well, what's left for Cam? He believes he's a number one guy. We listened to him, IM podcast with Brandon Marshall and the guys, and he's talking about what he's going to prove and all that he still has left. Well, he is looking at that from a lens of a starting quarterback. Well, there's no one in this National Football League that is really looking at him as a starting quarterback any longer. And so with that, when you have a guy or the mentality that I am a starter in this league, it's hard to just shift that mindset to going to, I'll be a backup just to stick around, just to help out a team. It takes, it's a process. And I'm not sure Cam Newton is willing to make that adjustment mentally.
I co-sign you, G. Now, you, Greg Jennings, and Marcellus Wiley are trying to end up on a Cam Newton Instagram video. I can already tell. No, his days in the league are done. His days in the league are done. Cut to Cam Newton doing some bicep curl. G, I think his days as a starter are over. I don't think his days in the NFL are over. I think his days as a starter are over. Now, if Cam is unwilling to be a backup, then I will take that next step with you and Marcellus and say his days in the league are done. If I'm Cam, I wouldn't be a backup because I've already been the man. I've been an NFL MVP. I've been the best player in the entire league, in the most famous sports league in America. So what am I going to do? What am I going to go be a backup now for? However, it really comes down to what does Cam want out of life? Does he want to try to get a little bit more juice out of the squeeze? Or does he say, you know what, I've done enough, I've accomplished enough, played 10+, league MVP, went to a Super Bowl, I can't really go up from here. But his days aren't done because he's a top 64 quarterback. You got to be top 32 to start. He's not that, at least not in perception. He is top 64. His days aren't done so long as he does not want them to be. The ball's going to be in Cam Newton's court this time around.
Oh, man. Look, I think he's done, but not for all of the reasons you guys are layering. I think it's going to really be this simple. It's not about his mindset and he won't be a backup. It's the fact that he won't get vaccinated. And I think that's just going to be the greatest hurdle. I'm not even saying which side do I care for. I'm vaccinated, but I'm not even tripping on him in terms of his choice. I'm just telling him these are the consequences because freedom of choice does not mean freedom of consequence. So I think teams are going to bring him in and say, fringe starter, if that, probably a backup. We're not going to get much out of you, but you're going to compromise our ecosystem in terms of our health, in terms of what we're trying to create, because the NFL is not playing this year. Teams will forfeit games if you have COVID, if you have problems. And Cam Newton's not going to be on the field, but he's still going to be one of the risks in terms of exposure. I think it's that simple. But let's talk about mindset since you guys keep bringing it up. Man, y'all got some first world mindsets, some first world problems up here. Let me see Acho, let me see Greg. Because y'all been across the borders. You guys have left our world and been to third world countries. I know Acho always talks about it. Man, it's amazing what you would do when you have to do it. It's amazing when you get out of thrive mentality to survive mentality. And I think right now, Cam has got to go to survivor mode. Like, it's not anything about MVP. Like, that's on the shelf somewhere. It's not about, oh, you know, I was in the Super Bowl and I was that close. That's on the shelf, and that's in highlight films behind you. What's in front of him is, I need to survive this moment, because it's been a calamity of issues the last 3 years. And some of it feels very unfortunate. You get hurt when you're playing your best football, it looked like. And that's on top of an MVP campaign, 2018. Cam Newton was out there balling 6-2, looked the best he ever looked in terms of accuracy, hurt. Since then, it's been a roller coaster ride. You get signed 2 weeks before you go to a team, you catch COVID, team was looking pretty good with you, you don't even know your players, the same players that Tom Brady abandoned because they were so bad. This was his year, and he gets cut. Man, he gets cut on the worst week allowed. Like, Cam Newton's name is scrolling across, and right behind it is Ben DiNucci. Like, you don't want to be branded like that if you Cam Newton, but hey, get out of your thrive mentality and get into your survivor mode. And let's see Cam Newton get himself back in the backup position.
Well, you touched on a couple things, and the vaccination is the first question that every team that interviews Cam is going to ask. Are you willing to get vaccinated? And pending that answer is going to dictate whether he signs with the team. Let's go to that thrive versus survive. When you talk about survive, I get it. Yes, you think you would hope that would be the mindset, but let's understand where people are in different situations. From Cam Newton's perspective, his surviving is surviving as a starter in the National Football League. It's not, I got to just survive and be on the roster. I just got to survive and be a quarterback in this league. No, that's not his mentality. That's never been what he's shown us. Even when we go back to college, he's like, I'm transferring out of Florida because I'm a starter, man. This is who I am. He believes in him. He's going to bet on him as a starter. So, yes, he has a survivor's mentality, but this is survivor as a starter in the National Football League. It has never been proven and shown by Cam Newton that his survivor mentality is, you know what? I'll be a backup. You want to know how I know that to be the case? Because if that were true, he would still be the second best option for the New England Patriots. He would not have been released. So there is something that tells me Bill Belichick has a great keen and a sense of evaluating players. And quarterback has been one of his strengths, and he hasn't had to do it for a long time, so I'm just going to say it's been one of his strengths. And so when you look at what he's decided to do in part ways, it had to be because there is a part of Cam Newton that I believe, if I'm Bill Belichick speaking right now, I don't know if he's really willing to take that second fiddle position and help the team from that position.
Yeah, Greg, you're right there in terms of surviving, but at what level of survival will Cam want to go to? Damn. All right, let me end with this. My dad, one time, boy, I learned so much from this one moment. I was like, Daddy, I'm hungry. He said, go in there and get something to eat. I go in there and I turn around like Smokey and Friday, like, Daddy, we ain't got nothing. No ham, no burger. Like, we ain't got nothing that goes together. He said, look, are you hungry or do you want to eat? Because if you really are hungry, you're going to make that ham and no burger work. We're going to see what Cam does. Right now, it ain't adding up.
Let's head to Chicago because Andy Dalton says it's his time. And Matt Nagy, head coach, seems to agree, naming the veteran quarterback the team's starter. Now, all eyes are on rookie Justin Fields, but for now, their first-round pick will be running the scout team in practice when the regular season starts. So, Sel, you got an issue with the Bears naming Dalton the starter over Fields?
Absolutely. In this position right here, looking at Andy Dalton the last couple years, Andy Dalton's not a winner. Andy Dalton had an opportunity in Dallas once the injury occurred to Dak Prescott to go out there and change his fate and change his fortune. He didn't do that. He went 4-5 in those games. Andy Dalton the year before that went 2-11. Andy Dalton, the writing's on the wall in terms of what he can do and how his skills would translate to the greater team success and winning. Now, every player knows that. So then we got to go into a talent conversation. Maybe Andy Dalton was in bad situations, bad predicaments. Let's see him play. Okay, Andy Dalton still got a little zip. Okay. All right, Justin, get in there. And you look at that and you say, oh, my. What are we having a debate over? The skill level, the mobility, the accuracy, the arm talent of Justin Fields in projection will be much greater than what you're ever going to see from Andy Dalton this year. So, Coach, if you want me to trust in you and your word, you want me to trust in this Chicago Bears system, you need to do what's best for all of us. Can you imagine if you're one of the other 51 guys who have to go out there, go to war, go to battle, and he didn't even give you the best ammunition to go to battle? Oh, I'll be upset. So unless you want us to undermine you in terms of your authority and what we believe in you, you got to put the best player out there. That's Justin Fields.
Marcel, I have no issue with the Bears naming Andy Dalton the starter because I know the way the game works. And if you know the way the game works, you understand why the Bears named Andy Dalton the starter. I'm going to put y'all up on game. Head coach Matt Nagy, general manager of the Bears Ryan Pace, they said they are going to do what is in the best interest of the organization because they care about the best interest of the organization. But they left out the caveat. They only care about the best interest of the organization as long as they are part of the organization.
Bingo.
And the best way for them to make sure that they are still head coach and general manager in 2022 next year is by starting Andy Dalton. If you start Andy Dalton and he struggles, put in Justin Fields at the end of the season. Justin Fields goes and wins 4 of the last 6 games. You can say, see, we were on a hot streak. But if you start Justin Fields and he struggles, now you have no ace in the hole, and furthermore, you lose your jobs. Don't look very far. 2018, Baltimore Ravens, Harbaugh. He had 3 consecutive seasons not making the playoffs. He was on his way out. Joe Flacco was struggling. But in comes first-round quarterback Lamar Jackson for the last 6 or so games of the season. Lamar takes him on a hot streak. Joe Flacco's, Jim Harbaugh's job is saved, and he hasn't looked back. Please get this, fans, particularly Bears fans, even analysts that are acting like they don't know. The only reason that Andy Dalton is starting is because management, general managers, head coaches are selfish, and they got to do what's in the best interest of them. They want the team to win, but they want the team to win because of them. And if Andy Dalton starts, Nagy and Pace are safe for another year. If Andy Dalton doesn't start, there's a chance they're not safe.
Okay, this is the runway argument. I saw Jeff Fisher try to pull this one off with Jared Goff. Job security. All right, I love it. Here's the problem, though. Even in my argument, because I made that case before, what if Justin Fields didn't struggle in the beginning? What if he succeeded from the beginning? And then you only have to go through, let me go in my back pocket and pull Justin Fields out. He right there in your front pocket. Why don't you just play him from week 1? That's the only challenge I have to this situation. They're already on the hot seat.
Of course.
They know it. And you're going to start off just because you want the theater of saving the day at the end of the season versus we ain't got nothing to say because we've been balling from hello. I asked you, Emmanuel Acho, Mr. Emmy, why won't you start Justin Fields in that situation? Because he can help you from the beginning.
I'll say it like this, Sel.
I like it,
It's
though.
almost like having insurance.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need insurance, car insurance, as long as you don't ever get in an accident. But the second you get in an accident, it behooves you to have insurance.
Facts.
So, Andy Dalton, you're going out there and you're like, if we get into this accident, it's all good. We got insurance in Justin Fields. But if you roll Justin Fields out there and you get into a figurative accident, you start the season 2-5, 2-6, something along those lines, you have no insurance. You can't roll Andy Dalton out there to save the day. So you know it, Sel. You put me on this game, and our conversations help elevate our minds. It's real simple, Bears fans. It's not that Justin Fields is worse, but you got to save your job if you're a coach or a general manager in Chicago.
Mac Jones will get his chance to show why he was a first-round pick. Cam Newton was released earlier today, and the rookie will be the team's new starter. His teammate Brian Hoyer said before the news broke that Jones has, quote, earned the respect of his teammates. Damn, Cam. Brian Hoyer did that too. So, Acho, can the Patriots contend with Mac Jones?
Man, I love Mac Jones. I think he will be a baller, not this year. Again, I'm going to give the AFC East to the Bills. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up, give it to the Bills. Now it's a matter of, Mac Jones, can you be better than the opportunistic defense of the Dolphins when you got to go see them? I'm not necessarily convinced. But furthermore, I don't know. Something about Bill Belichick and him without Tom Brady at least gives me a cause for pause. Why do I say this, y'all? Just do your research. Take your emotions out of it and do your research. 2000, before Tom Brady's the starter, Patriots are 5-11. 2001, Tom Brady's the starter, they're 11-5. 2007, Patriots with Tom Brady are 16-0. Randy Moss year. 2008, Tom Brady gets hurt, they're 11-5. 2019, with Tom Brady as the starter, Patriots are 12-4, go to the playoffs. 2020, with Cam Newton as the starter, Patriots are 7-9. I'm not going to say that Tom Brady deserves all the success in New England. But without Tom Brady, Belichick made the playoffs once in 8 years. With Tom Brady, 17 times in 18 years. With that being said, The odds, the stats, the numbers don't suggest that Belichick, with the rookie quarterback of Mac Jones, will be able to contend for anything of significance. It's not so much an opinion as much as I'm just looking at empirical data. And data states that Belichick, without Brady, just statistically isn't all that competitive.
My true answer is this is to be determined. We always have to do this, and it's Tom Brady has to get inserted somewhere in the Mac Jones conversation. You can never talk about Mac Jones without talking about Tom Brady, in part because they seem like you're seeing the replica. You're seeing the next version of Tom Brady 2.0 in Mac Jones. But to answer this question, you need to know if everything is surrounding Mac Jones like it was surrounding young Tom Brady. So that's why I say to be determined. My thoughts are they're going to be one tier under contender. That's where Baltimore, maybe Cleveland, because Cleveland's trying to ascend and go up there with Kansas City and Buffalo. But they're not up there, no way, with Mac Jones. Are they under that where Cleveland is right now, Baltimore, Indianapolis? Maybe if Mac Jones can show up. But it's not about Mac Jones. You got to remember, no rookie quarterback will be asked to do less than Mac Jones in his system. True. Because Bill Belichick will protect you. The play calling will protect you. The defense and the special teams will protect you if it's what Tom Brady went through and had in his early young years. But if this is not Tom Brady 2.0, not Mac Jones, but that special teams is not stellar. That defense is not stellar. And it's just Mac Jones has to lift a little more than Tom Brady had to in the beginning. Oh, they have no chance of contention. But so far, so good. We'll see what Mac Jones can do when them bullets real.